legendary 80s rock bands, arenas full, albums everywhere. Fans who would have followed them anywhere, and then gone. Not because the music stopped being great, because something or someone made damn sure they couldn't stay. This is the story they never put in the documentaries. Every single one of them deserves better. Number 10, Y&T. Before Motley Crue were Motley Crue. Before Metallica were Metallica. Y&T were already out there, grinding. Oakland, California. Dave Meniketti on guitar and vocals. And if you know this band, you know Meniketti is one of the most criminally underrated guitarists this entire era produced. Ronnie James Dio, when he was alive, called Meniketti one of the most underrated singers on the face of the earth. That's Dio saying that. Let that land for a second. Y&T signed to A&M Records in 1980. Earthshaker, Black Tiger, Mean Streak. Albums that got real traction in Europe, built a genuine following, showed you a band with serious chops and serious songs. Then in 1985, Summertime Girls from the Down for the Count album hit the mainstream rock chart at number 16. MTV put it in heavy rotation. They were out on the road with Motley Crue and Aerosmith, holding their own in front of massive crowds. A real buzz was building, and A&M pulled the plug mid-campaign. Not because the song failed, because A&M had something else they wanted to promote. A new Simple Minds album, or whatever else had caught their attention. And they pulled the funding from Summertime Girls right in the middle of its run. Dave Meniketti has talked about this with the kind of controlled frustration that only comes from having actually lived it. His words, A&M took a slam dunk and flushed it down the toilet with zero regard. So you want another chance with me? Don't stop! John Kalodner, the A&R man who later signed them to Geffen, told Meniketti privately, "My niece could have broken Summertime Girls." That is someone at Geffen telling Y&T that A&M left a hit single on the table by choice. They signed with Geffen. Contagious came out in 1987, the exact same week as Appetite for Destruction and Whitesnake's 1987. The same week. You couldn't win if you tried. Some of y'all who caught Y&T live in those mid-80s years know exactly what you witnessed. You know which show it was, you know where you were standing, and you know this story ended in a way it never should have. Number 9, Zebra. Here's a fact that Atlantic Records is not putting in any press releases. In 1983, Zebra's self-titled debut album became the fastest-selling debut album in Atlantic Records history, faster than anything that had come before it on that label. 75,000 copies in the first week, 8 months on the Billboard 200. Peaked at number 29, gold certified. Zebra were a three-piece from New Orleans who'd built their audience in Long Island dive bars and college gymnasiums for 7 years before anyone gave them a record deal. Randy Jackson, not the American Idol one, had a voice that could do things very few human voices can. He'd sit in a Zeppelin howl and then shift registers into something completely different, and you'd barely feel the transition. The band got compared to Led Zeppelin so often you'd think they were tired of hearing it. But it wasn't wrong, and for once the comparison carried actual weight. The debut hit fast, hit hard.
I could be innocent, I could be guilty. Doesn't mean that I will believe.
And here's what happened after that fastest-selling debut in Atlantic Records history. The follow-up, No Tellin' Lies, in 1984, barely got promoted, quietly, no fanfare, just the machinery that had pushed the debut was pointed somewhere else now. By the time 3V came out in 1986, the label was functionally done with them. They kept recording, kept touring. But the infrastructure of support that a band needs to cross from cult following to mainstream, Atlantic wasn't providing it. They were eventually dropped in the early 90s. Think about what that means. Fastest selling debut in the label's history. And the label couldn't be bothered to find out what the second album might do with real promotion behind it. You don't have to be a cynic to see the calculation.
I could be alive and I'll be the walking dead. I could be ignorant.
They got their first week number, got the chart position, and moved on. That's a specific kind of institutional abandonment that leaves no fingerprints. Some things about this business never change.
Let's look at the numbers. Only 9% of you are actually subscribed. Honestly, that's tough to see. Our team spends days hunting down archives and verifying every single fact just to tell these stories right. If you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly part of the community, so please hit subscribe. It costs nothing and helps us immensely. Now, for those already subscribed, very few of you have made the jump to our membership, and that's a hard pill to swallow because you're the ones who know our value best. If this channel has moved you or inspired you, consider joining. It's the price of one coffee, but it's the literal fuel for this channel. Let's keep this alive together. Back to the story.
Number 8. Warrant. Jani Lane wrote Cherry Pie in 15 minutes on a pizza box. That part is actually documented. The original lyrics are on display at a Hard Rock Cafe in Florida. The president of Columbia Records, Don Yenner, called Lane and told him he needed something like Aerosmith's Love in an Elevator. Lane picked up a pen, and about 15 minutes later, Columbia Records had the song that would define Warrant forever. The Cherry Pie album sold 2 million copies in the United States alone, peaked at number 7 on the Billboard 200. The video, with model Bobby Brown, became one of the most played clips MTV ever ran. And then Cherry Pie became the album title, the lead single, the tour, the brand, everything. What had taken 15 minutes to write became the only story anyone told about Warrant, and Jani Lane spent years trying to outrun it.
So I can feel you breathe. I don't need.
He called it a blessing and a curse in a 1992 interview with BAM magazine. In VH1's Heavy, the story of metal, he said something that stopped people in their tracks.
When I come home late at night,
something about wanting to shoot himself for writing that song. He later said he'd been having a bad day, but you heard what was underneath it.
Out along the boulevard.
A man trapped inside one 15-minute decision for the rest of his life. Guitarist Joey Allen said it plainly. The whole marketing and everything for that record changed. It was definitely driven by the label, not the band. An album that was supposed to be called Uncle Tom's Cabin, built around serious songs Lane actually cared about, became Cherry Pie. The label's phone call rewrote history. When Nirvana hit, Warrant became the symbol of everything grunge was supposed to destroy. They didn't fail. They were made an example of. And there's a version of this band, built around the album they were actually making, that never got to exist. Jani Lane died on August 11, 2011, acute alcohol poisoning at 47. That's what haunts me about this one. Number 7, Hanoi Rocks. This is the one that still hurts, because it isn't about a label, it isn't about a bad business decision, or a chart position, or an industry that didn't understand what it had. It's about December 8, 1984, and a night that didn't have to go the way it did. Hanoi Rocks were Finnish, formed in 1979, built their reputation across Europe on sheer charisma and noise. Michael Monroe was one of the most electric frontmen of his generation. Not just his era, his generation. Full stop. Andy McCoy on guitar. Razzle. Nicholas Dingley on drums. By late 1984, they had just signed with CBS Records. Their fifth album, 2 Steps from the Move, produced by Bob Ezrin, the same Ezrin who had worked with Lou Reed, Alice Cooper, and Kiss, was their major label American debut. Their first U.S. tour had just begun. After years grinding through Europe, they were finally about to see what America looked like up close. On December 8th, Razzle and Motley Crue's Vince Neil made a run to the liquor store in Neil's de Tomaso Pantera. Neil's blood alcohol was 0.17, well above the legal limit. He was doing 65 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone. He lost control of the car. Razzle died at South Bay Hospital. He was 24 years old. 2 people in the other vehicle were seriously injured. Brain damage, both of them. Vince Neil was sentenced to 30 days in jail and served fewer than 20. He paid $2.5 million in compensation. And Motley Crue went on to even greater fame, dedicating their next album, Theater of Pain, to Razzle in what can only be described as the music industry's most hollow gesture. Hanoi Rocks tried to continue. Terry Chimes, the former Clash drummer, came in as a replacement, but the band was already gone. Michael Monroe gave notice early in 1985, a farewell show in May. And that was it. Some losses don't have a lesson in them. Some losses are just losses, raw and permanent. And that's what this one is. Number 6, WASP. Capitol Records signed WASP in 1984. I Wanna Be Somebody. LOV Machine. Wild Child, hard rock that made no apologies and offered no softening. Blackie Lawless was one of rock's great provocateurs, and he knew exactly what he was doing. This wasn't chaos. It was a calculated, fully intentional challenge to the idea that rock music owed anyone politeness. But here's what Capitol didn't want on their label. When WASP brought Animal, FK Like a Beast to the table, Capitol refused to release it. They'd signed the band. They were taking the commercial association, the press, the market. And when it came time to actually stand behind the music, they backed down. The song came out on Restless Records, an independent, where Capitol didn't have to put their name on it. Then came September 1985, the PMRC Senate hearings. Tipper Gore's organization had compiled the Filthy 15, a list of songs they considered dangerous to American youth. Animal, FK Like a Beast, was number 2 on that list, right below Prince's Darling Nikki. The hearing room was full of senators and senators' wives. And WASP was named as Exhibit A of everything wrong with rock music. No representative of the band was invited to testify. Dee Snider testified for himself.
Be somebody.
Frank Zappa testified. John Denver testified. WASP were named as a problem to be solved and given no microphone. After those hearings, radio stations across the country quietly stopped adding their tracks. No formal announcement, no phone calls you could trace. Just playlists updated, requests declined. The informal infrastructure that determines who gets heard and who doesn't made a collective quiet decision. And WASP spent the rest of the decade making records that deserved more than an industry that had already decided they were too much trouble. I'd argue they never got the shot they deserved. But I know some of you will push back on that, and I get it. Number 5, Badlands. To understand Badlands, you need to understand what happened to Jake E. Lee 3 years before the band existed. Lee was Ozzy Osbourne's guitarist. He played on Bark at the Moon in 1983. He toured the world with Ozzy. He was good. And then in 1987, Zakk Wylde was announced as the new guitarist, and Jake E. Lee was gone. Accounts of why vary depending on who's telling the story. I'm lost in a shadow, don't know where you are. What's consistent is what Lee carried out of that situation. The specific weight of a person who did the work was good enough and got replaced anyway, without much ceremony, without much credit for what he'd already done. He formed Badlands in 1988. Atlantic Records signed him, Ray Gillen on vocals, a voice that belonged on the top shelf of 80s rock, full stop. The self-titled debut in 1989 was received as exactly what it was, a genuinely excellent album from a band with real things to prove. Voodoo Highway in 1991 was even better. Critics noticed. Listeners who found the band noticed. Atlantic had already moved on. The label dropped them before there was a third album. Badlands dissolved. And then, in December 1993, Ray Gillen died of AIDS-related complications. He was 33 years old. That's 3 losses inside one story. A guitarist who did the work in someone else's band and got replaced without adequate recognition. A label that signed them and then abandoned them at exactly the wrong moment. And a vocalist who died before most of the world had the chance to know his name. Eric Singer, who played drums on that debut album, went on to join Kiss. That's how much talent was sitting in this room. Atlantic walked away from it, and Ray Gillen never got to find out what he might have become. Number 4, Triumph. You want to understand Triumph? Here's the picture. First half of the 1980s, one of the top live rock acts in North America. Not a supporting act, a headline act. Sold out arenas, pyrotechnics that could match anyone, a laser and light show that people still describe in detail 40 years later. Rick Emmett was one of the genuinely great guitarists of his era. Allied Forces in 1981 went platinum in the United States. Magic Power hit number 8 on the mainstream rock chart. Never Surrender hit number 2. Fight the Good Fight. These are arena anthems built to last, and Rolling Stone called them faceless. That one word tells you everything about how the rock press treated Triumph. Canadian band, not from New York or LA, not part of the cultural conversation that critics were already having. So give and take the best that you can. RCA Records released their early records, and then RCA and Triumph parted ways, and MCA signed them for 5 albums in 1984. MCA executive Irving Azoff co-opted their debts and brought them over. With that label change came a gradual but real drift. More production, more keyboards, more of what MCA thought the market wanted. The live energy that made them legendary became harder to bottle. The band added a touring keyboardist in 1986, just to replicate on stage what the records were becoming. And then Rick Emmett left in 1988, exhausted, a decade of giving everything, and the machinery around him had been pulling in directions that didn't serve the music. The Best of Classics came out in 1989 as the final fulfillment of their MCA contract. Not because the band chose that ending, but because that's what was contractually left. Inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame in 2008, a full tribute album in 2025 with Slash, Sebastian Bach, and Nancy Wilson covering their songs. You know what that tells you? It tells you exactly how long it takes for an industry to admit what it undervalued. Number 3, Dokken. Here's something I keep coming back to. Back for the Attack in 1987 went platinum. That was the commercial peak of Dokken's career, a platinum record. And they broke up right after it. Not after a failure, not after the charts turned, right after a platinum record. And that should make no sense, unless you understand the George Lynch situation. If you know 80s rock guitar at all, you know that name. Lynch is playing on Tooth and Nail in 1984, on Under Lock and Key in 1985, on Back for the Attack in 1987. Album after album of work that put him in the conversation with the very best of his era. A tone that was completely his own, a vocabulary nobody else was using. The man was, by the assessment of a lot of people who were there, the musical heart of that band. And Don Dokken, the singer, the frontman, the one who legally controlled the band name, did not get along with him.
What can I say?
We're talking about a feud so well documented that it spilled into the press in real time. Arguments over songwriting credit, over studio direction, over which songs got the most attention. Don wanted commercial. George wanted raw. Neither one was willing to give an inch. Here's the part that gets me. Elektra Records watched all of this happening. They could see the internal war. And instead of building any kind of structure around the band, any kind of buffer or mediation or creative framework that might have kept them together, the label let it run. George Lynch formed Lynch Mob. Don Dokken went solo. They reunited several times after that, and every time you could feel the tension, because the fundamental thing between them never got resolved. What comes after a platinum record from a band hitting its stride? What was the ceiling? We never found out, because the label didn't feel like it was their problem to solve. I know some of you in the comments have very strong opinions about whose fault this one actually was. Number 2, Dio. Ronnie James Dio. You already know what that voice sounds like. If you've ever been in a car with the windows down and Rainbow in the Dark came on, you know what that voice does to the air. Heavy, precise. A kind of purity of tone that very few human voices achieve. He left Rainbow to join Black Sabbath, then left Black Sabbath to form his own band, Holy Diver, in 1983.
Something is coming for you.
The Last in Line in 1984, Sacred Heart in 1985, album after album that proved, without ambiguity, that Ronnie James Dio was one of the great voices in the history of rock music. Warner Bros. Records, that's who had him, and here's what Warner Bros. Did with him. Dream Evil came out in 1987, a genuinely strong record, and it received minimal promotional support from the label. For a band and a singer who had commercially and critically proven themselves already, the indifference was specific and hard to miss. You don't accidentally underpromote a Dio record in 1987. That's a decision. Someone looked at the marketing budget and pointed it somewhere else. Here's what I think about when you sit with that catalog. Dio spent the first half of his career building credibility in other people's bands. Rainbow, Black Sabbath. And then, when he finally had his own vehicle, the machinery around him never matched the scale of what he was doing. He kept recording anyway. Lock Up the Wolves. More albums into the 90s and 2000s.
You can see it stops, but you know it's clean. Oh, no.
He didn't stop. He didn't ask permission. He just kept going, because that's who he was. Ronnie James Dio was diagnosed with stomach cancer in November 2009. He died on May 16, 2010. One of the genuinely irreplaceable voices in rock history.
Jump on the tiger. You can feel his heart, but you know.
I didn't know until I started digging into this how specific the label's neglect was during that Dream Evil cycle. And that part still gets me.
Ride the tiger. You can see his
Warner Bros. Eventually gets to license that catalog for the rest of time. And the rest of us get to live with the question of what more might have been possible with real institutional support behind him.
Number
1, Twisted Sister. September 19, 1985. Senate hearing room, Washington, D.C. Dee Snider walked in, long blonde hair, denim jacket, the face of everything the Parents Music Resource Center said was dangerous about rock music. Tipper Gore's organization had already put Twisted Sister's "We're Not Gonna Take It" and "Under the Blade" on their Filthy 15 list. A list of songs that senators' wives wanted regulated, and now Snider was there, sitting across from people who had actual government power to change how music was sold in America. He came prepared. He came with notes and a clear argument. He challenged specific claims, including the assertion that "Under the Blade" had sadomasochistic themes. Which Snider pointed out were actually about surgery. He was controlled, articulate, and devastating. It remains one of the more remarkable pieces of congressional testimony in American entertainment history. And then he walked out of that room, and the damage was already done. Here's what the history books leave out. Snider didn't lose that argument. The PMRC never got their full labeling system the way they wanted. Snider went in there and won the argument on the record. But winning an argument in a Senate hearing room doesn't stop what happens in the informal infrastructure. The phone calls between radio programmers, the quiet conversations between industry people. The collective institutional cooling that follows when powerful people make their feelings about a band unmistakably clear. Radio stations across the country quietly began avoiding Twisted Sister. No announcement, no formal decision, just a slow disappearance from playlists. A&M Records, watching all of this, made their move. Come Out and Play, in 1985, underperformed. Tours fell apart. And then, and this is the part nobody puts in the story, when Dee Snider prepared a solo album in 1987, Atlantic refused to release it unless it was labeled as a Twisted Sister album, not a Dee Snider record. A Twisted Sister record. The actual band members weren't on the recording. It was session musicians. Reb Beach on guitar, Kip Winger before Winger existed. Atlantic put the Twisted Sister name on someone else's project, called it Love Is for Suckers, and put it out on August 13th, 1987. The fans who cared most could tell immediately it wasn't the band, and the fans who didn't know felt confirmed in the idea that Twisted Sister had gone soft. The record failed commercially. On October 12, 1987, Snider left. Atlantic canceled the contract the same month. The public announcement of the band's end came in January 1988. The band that wrote the anthem, the band that told an entire generation we are not going to take it, ended up taking all of it. The government hearing, the radio silence. A label that used their name as a marketing vehicle and then discarded it. That's not a fall from grace. That's an institution deciding it was done with you from 3 different directions at once. There's a version of this story where Dee Snider walks out of that Senate hearing and into the strongest period of Twisted Sister's career. That version didn't happen. And the reason it didn't happen is documented, specific, and institutional, which is the part no one tells you.